You're this perp back with another video. And has evil finally died tonight? And I am here to talk about Halloween Ends. And boy, what an ending. So before I get to this review, man, because I feel like I was going to go into this non-spoiler, but to really understand where I'm coming from, I gotta talk about spoilers. Now, I'm one of the very few people that I feel like really enjoyed Halloween Kills. I recently watched it the other day, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of like still holds up in my opinion. I think it was a still fun, brutal, bloody movie. The tone for me is still off with that movie. Some of that kind of creeps in with Halloween Ends, but I will say the tone for Halloween Ends is, I feel like, what Kills should have been. And what I liked about Kills is it really focused on like the hysteria of just Michael Myers as a whole and just how that affects people, how fear affects people, makes them do a lot of rational things. And it led to the townspeople making a pretty much an innocent person kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? And this one is very different. When Jamie Lee Curtis was talking about this movie and saying that people might actually hate this movie, I don't think she was lying. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate this movie, but there's definitely things that are just like questionable, or just, it's kind of an odd direction. But there's certain things in this movie that happen that I'm okay with. I was okay with, but then it kind of, I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. I really don't know how to feel about this ending. So let's talk about this new character that gets introduced in the beginning of this film, Corey. Now, I avoided all spoilers or just people talking about this or trying to break this down. Corey is a brand new character that didn't get introduced in none of the other movies. So right then and there, I could see some people having issues with that. But what they do with Corey was really dope, in my opinion. Like, he is like this male babysitter, which you don't ever see. He has this kid kind of playing practical jokes on him. And you know what this reminded me? This beginning of this movie reminded me of Trick or Treats. Not Trick or Treat, but Trick or Treats. If you've never seen that, it's like an 80s movie or whatnot. Like, where the little kid was always playing pranks on the babysitter and she was always falling for it. It kind of was reminiscent of that. So this kid is like playing around with Corey, going missing, pretending to just, scare him, because he says he's not scared of anything. He's in his 20s or something like that. It doesn't matter what age you're at, you can still be afraid of something. So this kid tests his gangster. And that shit goes left because, he seems to not really like closed spaces, or just something about him being locked in the attic kind of freaked him out. Which led him busting open the door. And as soon as the parents come back, the kid gets knocked over these over the railings and just like hits his head. That shit was crazy, bro. That was a hell of a way to start this movie. And this was like pretty much a year after Kills. And, now we have like a new boogeyman that the town can be mad at. And it goes into like present day where Corey is released. And now he has to kind of deal with this backlash and just him being turned into this villain. And I really like that about his character and how he comes across Michael. Because for some odd reason, nobody knows where Michael's at or anything. He's living in this like sewer area, which was really creepy. He grabs him by the neck, but he just looks at him with the eyes, and I'm just like, what's really going on here? And it's just, it's really weird, it just all of a sudden from that moment, Corey starts to kind of tap into the killer side within him, but also kind of there's this love thing, or like this love story going on between Corey and Allison. Now, Allison kind of really took a backseat in the last film. she still kind of plays a supporting role, which I feel like they should have kind of made her more of the main focus throughout this whole entire, like, 3 movies, and not so much on, like, Laurie, even though she is, like, the person that everybody is coming to see. Laurie really takes a backseat kind of in this movie, and Allison kind of gets a little bit more, but that role kind of shifts throughout the film as you keep going. And I just like Corey and just the idea of, you know, them kind of passing down the mask, or passing down Michael Myers, and we get this new killer, if that makes any sense. And I know some people might say, like, this is not Scream, this is Halloween, but I felt like what they were doing, or what they were going for, was pretty effective with Corey's character. But unfortunately, it gets cut kind of short because he ends up pretty much dying at the end of this movie. I'm not gonna tell you how, but it was kind of unfortunate. And as soon as he died, I was like, oh, I thought they were gonna kind of lean into that. There was a missed opportunity there, but I just like that we got this character that was good, but then he just kind of turned to the dark side. And I wish they would have kind of done more with Corey and Allison. It just kind of went nowhere, in my opinion. The stuff with Laurie was okay. She was just trying to fall back. The same thing with Michael. Michael completely falls back in this movie, pretty much. And it's mostly Corey doing a lot of the kills, which I can see being an issue for a lot of people with this movie. And it is kind of a weird choice. And this is a very different type of Halloween movie. It doesn't really... It tries to conclude, but it also just feels weird at the same. It's a weird conclusion because you set something up that seemed like it could have been something where you could have ended Laurie's and Michael's whole entire beef in this movie, and then pass things on to just Allison and Corey. That would have been cool. They could possibly come back to that and do that, and Corey could still be alive, you know what I'm saying? Because they didn't, you know, what did they do with his body? Even though the way he died doesn't seem like he's going to come back for that, unless if they end up just adding some supernatural thing. They tease it a little bit, but it just... It's just, it's kind of unexplainable. It's just something about just evil that just drives people and just drives Mike Myers, and why he's able to just take all these shots. He literally got lit up the last one. Like, he's a beast, bro. He's a tank. It almost seems like he was unkillable, but he's still a mortal man. But it's just, I feel like it's just adrenaline, I guess. Adrenaline is just keeping him going. But yeah, all the stuff with Corey was really interesting to me. And I felt like they could have really doubled down with that and went somewhere crazy and really bold. And this is going to be a very divisive film, I think, just based on just how it ended. Yes, Laurie does get the best of Michael. They literally take this man to a junkyard and throw his body in like in one of those like trash compactor, not a trash compactor, but like things that kind of like where you go to destroy things at a junkyard. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, that pretty much says Michael Myers is dead, you know, like. But I think it's kind of cheap just because you don't really get to see Michael throughout this film a lot, and I can see that being like the reason why people are pissed off. You know, and I feel like that was like the sacrifice. Like, all right, we're going to introduce Corey, but we're going to focus more on Corey than Michael. He's just going to be in the shadows. And I can see people not liking that. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But like I said, what they try to do with this whole entire trilogy has been really interesting. If you really look at it as a whole, you can either love it or hate it. I like about these movies is they really focus on like the psychological aspect of like what Mike Myers does to these people, like traumatically or just psychologically, to the point where, you know, where Laurie's trying to live her normal life. She's got a smile on her face. Then you see old girl from Kills that got stabbed in the neck. She lived. I was like, yo, that's crazy. And her I guess granddaughter or her daughter is just like, yo, how can you sit there and smile and look at what you did? Look at what you and Michael have done to this town. Well, granted, it's really Tommy's fault because he was the biggest instigator in Halloween Kills. He's the one that really kind of egged this whole thing on. But to her point, Laurie did kind of continue this, but she wanted to kind of end this in her own way. So I like that you know, everybody kind of points blame at Laurie because this is really not really all her fault. You know what I'm saying? But it's just fascinating how they kind of play around with that. But it kind of gets lost in translation when you got a lot of stuff that just feels out of place with the tone. Like, it was really hooking me with, you know, just the introduction to Corey, and he kind of really has this Norman Bates kind of complex to him, even with his parents and stuff like that, and just how they go about portraying his character as this innocent person turned into a psychotic killer. I want to see more of Corey, honestly. Like, to see that type of like viciousness was really dope. He got really creative with his kills. That's another thing too. They cut away from a lot of kills in this compared to Halloween Kills, and that really kind of pissed me off. Overall, though, I know this has just been a long-winded review. I just want to kind of give you my first impressions on this movie. I thought there was things to really like about this movie, but there's also things to really dislike that they could have really went back to the drawing board on. I'm curious to see if the reason they put this on Peacock is if they have like an alternate ending, because I think that would be really dope and make it worth the while, because there was a bunch of red flags leading up to this movie, and you know what I'm saying, a lot of people are going to be split with this movie once again. But I'm curious to see where they go with Halloween in the future. I definitely think that they're going to try to make more of these, probably not with Laurie Strode, or they'll probably just completely reboot the whole entire franchise, which I could definitely see them doing in like 5 years. Or what they could really do is take Seasons of the Witch and turn that into an anthology TV series. That would be really cool. But I'd be down for a Halloween reboot. I think it's about time. But I definitely think they should just let this kind of chill out for a while, and maybe whoever gets their hands on the franchise next, maybe they could do something different. Let me know how y'all feel about these 3 movies that have come out. Which one is your favorite? I still like 18. I think that was the perfect tone for Halloween, or a new Halloween. I still like some of the Thorn trilogy, Thorn movies and whatnot. Let me know, what are some of your favorite Halloween movies? Has this kind of surprised you? Did you like this movie? Did you hate it? Let me know all your thoughts. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.
Sorry.